Okay, I'm going to have another look at the likelihood of November the 3rd and November the 4th being the actual 3/11 and 4/11 parts of this combined disasters false flag. You know, we're in phase 2 now, contracted phase 2. Check out the movie. So, okay, I'm going to play the old classic 1994 Shattered Union.
Following a disputed election and a tie vote, the U.S. Congress installs the most unpopular president in U.S. history as David Jefferson Adams becomes the 44th President of the United States. Shortly after the election, increased unrest, rioting, and a growing number of militias have given rise to ever-increasing domestic terrorism. In response, the President invokes the Homeland Security Act and declares martial law on the West Coast and other areas of the country. Though highly contested, a Supreme Court ruling sidesteps the electoral process, disqualifying popular presidential candidates from several states. Public outrage
November
explodes when a sham election leads to incumbent David Adams accepting a second term in office.
Okay, so you've got November re-election, and then you've got the boom on that day in this. Re-election of an unpopular president, no prizes for guessing who.
During the 57th Inauguration Day ceremonies, Washington, D.C. is struck by a low-yield nuclear weapon, killing David Adams and most of the U.S. colonies. The destruction of Washington, D.C. effectively breaks the chain of succession, sending the nation into chaos. In an emergency vote, the European Union deploys peacekeepers in the greater D.C. area to secure international interests. With separatist sentiment rising, California's governor declares home rule and secedes from the Union. Texas follows quickly and declares sovereignty, taking neighboring states with them and forming the Republic of Texas. Now, the once United States of America lie in ruin. The time for words has passed, and a second American Civil War now erupts. And a second American Civil War now erupts. And a second American Civil War now erupts as 7 factions wage war across the land. They battle one another to reclaim a nation.
Check that out. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Divided, right? Now let's try and find that thing. Not that one. Not that one. It'll be here somewhere. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. Right, so you got this Errol Flynn, Ronald Reagan movie, Divided We Fall, and it just happens to be an American antebellum movie, of course, first American Civil War, and look, broken families. Yeah, I mean, how many families have already been divided by this false flag phase 2 that we're in now, this fake virus, right? How many of your family members are completely brainwashed and won't get it, just will not listen? I'm sure you've got someone in your family, or more than one person in your family, that's just suffering from this psychosis. Anyway, right, so let's just finish that.
To restore peace, to rebuild this shattered union.
Right, 1994. It mentions what? Terrorism. So you got your storm of tactical psychological operations by the Zionist Freemasons, Israel, since July the 20th, 2012 until now and beyond. But the big question is the beyond November the 3rd and November the 4th, and then after that, after the blackout, second American antebellum Civil War, like they say here. Is this the playbook? Is this 1994 video game trailer? Is it the actual playbook? It pretty much is, as far as I can tell. Yeah, it's got everything. It's got West Coast martial law. I mean, you've already had you got martial law in what's it called, Melbourne at the moment, haven't you? And let me see if I can find the That's an interesting old image that I found before. Tower Bridge with the submarine. I mean, you got your submarine operation for 311, and Tower Bridge is definitely by Mr. Palmer. That's another classic Jewish name. Let's just go through a few images quickly. Yeah, so you got Tower Bridge there. Sisters of the Plague. Yeah, there's your Ground Zero right there, Place Beyond the Pines. Let's work our way through it. Right. So anyway, yeah, I put these images together. Home Before Dark, right? That's martial law. Yeah, 8:30 in Melbourne, martial law, and of course, all these Blackout references are dark references, right? So you've got Near Dark, Catherine Bigelow, yeah, and it's clever because Lars Henriksen is, he's very old, and he fought in the American Civil War. He said, I fought for the North or the South or whatever, and it's near dark. You see, this plague. Of course, all vampire movies and all zombie movies are virus movies because they bite you. Both bite you. You get infected, right? I know it's fictional and all that, but that's merely symbolic of virus. That's why you've had so many of these zombie and virus movies and TV series, because it's all about the corona. Yeah, because they're infections, right? And an infection near dark, near the blackout during this period. This fake virus thing, of course, it's fictional virus leading into near blackout, near dark to near blackout. Blackout on, I guess, November the 4th. Spreading darkness. And of course, this is a plague mask that Heath Ledger was wearing in Parnassus. It's not your average mask, it's a plague mask. Yeah. Right. And of course, more masks. It's just on the front cover of virtually everything. Mortal Engines, you name it. And this was about the Super Bowl blackout because that was pre-advertising the blackout coming. Power out. Let's see what we can fit in. Iron Sky's got a very interesting thing about the slogan for the re-election. You spin it upside down, it becomes the word safe, and of course safe and secure being the CIA code words for exactly the opposite, and mocking the public. And there's your Southland Tales re-election. Here's your re-election, Elliot Frost re-election, and your Ground Zero, Seattle's Ferris Ra wheel re-election again, with Costa and his whole career being very largely this series of combined disaster, false flags now. Election again, of course. Mr. Broderick, Mr. Ferris Bueller, being his whole career is it. And I've always looked at his career because he's number one. He's the one. His career, his whole career is this. He played Feynman in Infinity, which was, one of those Oppenheimer guys. I think Richard Feynman was it. Another Jewish nuclear physicist in Manhattan Project, of course. So you got to have that. And he played in The Last Shot, of course. Shot Baker, Marshall Islands, etc. And Mr. Man in a Mask, of course. More masks and their presidents. Point Break was a very clever movie, just by the same Catherine Bigelow. Nuclear beaches and things like that. Oh, it's full of predictive programming, and it's very clever. And Reagan again, and masks. And this is the Purge election year. Well, that's this year. And of course, it's got flu in one of the masks. Did you make your exit plan? This guy also starred in the silencing, because we've been silenced. Enjoy the silence. Again, I've got to look at Depeche Mode's predictive programming all the way through, behind the wheel, behind the Ferris wheel. You should have left. You should have made your exit plan, and you should have left North America. Let's go through this lot. Yeah, will it be a Black Christmas? Well, if I'm right, yeah. if November the 3rd and 4th this year are it, because, like I say, it's the only year in the last 20 plus that the election has been on November the 3rd, so it's the only year that fits 311, and it's supposed to be on 311. The names, so you got Blair and Brooke. There's Mel Brooks, right? You got Brooke Bond T, Bond being another Jewish name, Blair being not only a Jewish name like Tony Blair, but also a gay code like Blaine and Blair, and Brooke Candy, and no, there's tons of them, but a lot of good, examples of Jewish names like Tribe of Levi, Lee, General Lee, all the generals like General Grant, General Albert Pike, Lee. These are all Jewish names. They've been behind every single war. Grant, Hugh Grant, Richard E. Grant, Eddie Grant. Well, you know, the slaves over there in the Caribbean, they took the names of their slave masters who were Phoenician merchants, Jewish. Yeah, they're good liars, this Tsarina here. Yeah. And of course, Mr. Chief Gay Freemason himself. Yeah, there's no such thing as a good liar. Lies are terrible. There's Lee again with the cavalry. Civil War. Combined Disasters 5. Combined Disasters. This one next. 311. Nicolas Cage film Next, which is about a nuke on the west coast. Next. CDC. Masks. Epidemic. Quarantine. Vaccine. Hello. And this is the first time I've seen this. Look at that. Mask. That's French for mask. So there's a Steve Jackson mask card on top of that. And Stranger Things 3, look at that. Ground Zero had to be there, the Ferris wheel. And this is from October 2017, 3 years old almost exactly. And this character with the mask is called Coronavirus. And it says here, it's a mask, Obelix. Mask, coronavirus, yeah. Blatant. And the draft for war will come. And fires at the moment, of course. Belarus, protesters are being arrested, the women being arrested. Police state, well, what? This is a great picture. Look at this. It's like a scream, isn't it? The boy there. Yeah. Israel doing it to their own people. Isn't that weird? And with the thing, they'll sacrifice their own people for their agendas. No problem. They did it before and they'll do it again. Anything to get their NWO domination plan by the Zionists on top of all of us. And using a submarine for it, of course. Right. So yeah, I'm saying it fits. It totally fits. The timeline fits. Phase 2 going into phase 311 and 411. 3rd and 4th of November 311, and then the blackout 411. Boom, blackout. And combined, of course, combined disasters this year. Yeah, it's finally, you know, been predicting it for so many years. We're finally in it, and so far the first 2 operations have gone exactly according to the numbers. So why not 3rd of November and 4th of November? It'll be interesting to see the reactions of the people I've told about this, all the people that don't believe me, you know. See the look on their faces when all hell breaks loose. The west coast of America and the black lights go out in Georgia.